All right, welcome to another short lesson where we are continuing to close up our whole discussion on buying, selling, and executing airtime. H-rated 223 part-timers. This is actually lesson three of six. That's right, yeah. And that's from your textbook, Next Level Radio, chapter 10.9, commission, which is page 387, and 10.10, sales versus programming and the dynamics there of 388. All right, so let's quickly have a look at the first part, which is about commission. How much do salespeople get? Well, in most jobs, a person is compensated with a monthly salary like we are. And when I say we are, just a normal old old run-of-the-mill person that goes in, goes out, has a specific job description, and doesn't have anything to do with in the sales sector. So, for example, we know that any kind of sales rep, person that's selling homes or whatever it may be, a car salesman, anything, any one of these people, including our sales executives and professionals within the sales department in radio or at a radio station, do also work on commission. So it does vary from station to station, and that's up to it's predominantly up to the committee, the obviously the board, as well as the station manager as to how that particular commission will be issued. Right. Okay, so people with salaries know exactly how much they are going to get paid at the end of the month, but each radio station has a different commission structure, and the principles of commission is that a salesperson is paid a percentage of their airtime sales, or the sales deals that they do close. So not immediately, they close obviously the deal once obviously the entire process is complete. Obviously, the compensation process as well from then onwards, whatever it is that the station does actually make, the station will then obviously give a percentage of that back, right? So at the station that I work for, it's a 50-50, which is very generous, but sales is very difficult. So it sounds like a great ride, but you have to work for that 50% that the station manager is offering you for any money and any deals that you bring in, customers, clients, and revenue. So many radio stations offer a basic guaranteed amount of pay, particularly for more junior sales staff. The basic guarantee is an amount of money. For example, let's say like $3,000, you're going to get 3,000 basic, you know that, a basic salary. And then the rest is obviously earned through your commission that you bring in from sales. So the basic guarantees is an amount of money meant to cover expenses that the sales rep will incur, like travel, like cell phone, whatever it may be. And then yeah, no, I was going to say entertainment too, but that's from the station's budget. So entertainment in terms of taking out your clients for dinner or lunch or whatever it is. If a radio sales executive is on a basic salary of 10 grand a month and earns 10% on any deal that they make, they could earn 10,000 in a month that they make no sales, or 160,000 Rand if they close an advertising deal of 1.5 million. So we've always said this, I know that I've always said this, that the people that earn the most money, like at commercial radio, are the salespeople. They're the ones with the most expensive cars. They're the ones that have just bucket loads of money. Because I laugh because well, I guess I suppose I'm a bit envious at the end of the day. But the thing is, because you're working at commercial, the money that you bring in, the rate and the package, the cost of packaging or whatever it is, and the promotion, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's never a little amount of money. And so when you get your commission off that, you are earning maybe three times more are then perhaps maybe one of your floor employees. So one of the basic DJs, one of the newer DJs, or perhaps a lot of people within different departments like digital and parts of news, etc. You're basically making that cash. But once again, it's not a dream. It's a lot of work, right? So it can often feel like sales and programming are working in opposing sides, right? Of the radio business. We have discussed this before. They are two very, very different areas. And obviously the people that do work in each one of these departments have a very, very different type of professional personality, right? The two have to come together all the time because if programming doesn't exist without sales and sales does not exist before it just has no purpose without programming. So the immediate objective for the sales team is to reach their sales target for the day, week, or month, and and then obviously bank most of the money they can for the station. Now, the immediate objective of programming is to make the best possible radio content that can bring in an audience, that keeps the audience happy. And so, if we have a bigger audience, we have a bigger rate card, or if we have more information to be able to obviously procure different clients, etc., etc. So you can understand that the synergy is inevitable, right? Sales and programming teams are also different or also differently compensated, which results in them working very differently. Programming teams, let's say, might be paid per hour or per show. And then a weekday presenter will be paid, let's say, for example, a salary. So sales focuses on the next sell and are playing a numbers game. And this means that they are often looking at an immediate time horizon, whereas programming, again, salaries are paid by the hour or by the show, or again, it's a permanent salary. In other words, it's decided upon that you're going to get 80,000 Rand, 40,000 Rand, 25,000 Rand, and that's what you get every single month, like regardless of what it is that or the amount of work you put into your show, etc., etc. Like that's just how it works. Obviously, like any other person in in that works for the radio station, right? Okay, this means that they are looking at a longer term horizon and they are comparing the current year to the previous year, etc. Right? We want to be able to know that we can get increases and not, yes, there's standard increases that are by law, what you should be giving to even contractors. Well, everyone's contracted. I always we must never ever confuse the fact that everyone is contracted, even if it's a permanent contract versus a contract. So when I say like you're contracted for 3 months or whatever it is, in terms of that, everyone is contracted. And again, if you are working for a particular company year on year, you need to get like I think it's about I think it's a 5% increase by law. But hopefully, and it does not happen, does not happen these days, just in general. We can blame the economy, we can blame ethics or corporate ethics or whatever it is. And we can blame the fact that there's so much unemployment that your company or corporates have too much of the power for you to even bring up salary negotiations and increases, etc., etc. So basic, obviously increases there. And when you are comparing your contracts year on year, you would like to know that you're growing. Predominantly, obviously, if you change a show, your salary should change too with that. Having said that, a successful radio station is always one that has a symbiotic relationship with sales and the programming teams or between them, right? Additionally, it's very important to acknowledge that clients are often listeners too. So if they are not note, they are listening when the advert is playing, right? Okay, cultivating a symbiotic relationship between sales versus programming. Some of these methods are discussed in table 10.4 on page 389. So let's quickly go and turn our page or turn in our text box to page 389. Quite a lot in that table over there. You'll see that the table is listed or labeled as different models to ensure symbiosis between the sales and the programming teams at a radio station. So let's look at the first one over there, leading from the top for or by example. So the station manager exerts influence over the programming team and the sales team through their managers, who either report to the station manager or are on an equal footing with them. The station manager can then therefore prioritize the importance of sales and programming teams working closely together and can reward successful occasions or can reward successful occasions of working together and landing big deals, etc., and can provide some support in resolving conflicts between the teams, right? So station manager could or should demonstrate the importance of the two teams working seamlessly and respectfully together by leading by example. And that we often hope for in any company, that your boss is practicing what they preach. And well, in some cases, they genuinely actually don't like confrontation. They prefer micromanagement, which is very ineffective when there are many moving parts within your business, right? Um, or they like mitigation. So mitigation say, well, you know what? I'm a station manager. There's a sales manager over there. The sales manager and the program manager each have their own jobs, and so they must take care of it. That's the wrong, obviously, the wrong attitude, right? Okay, so just continuing, just to finish that there. Leading by example, in other words, a station manager should encourage a good flow of information between the two teams, thereby cultivating an environment for sales and programming to be interdependent. If we look at the second one, systems and processes, one way in which the sales and programming teams can be intrinsically linked is to set up a process whereby no team can implement a campaign without the other team's approval. And that's fair, right? Because then it forces synergy and, again, a symbiotic relationship. Many station managers will set up a system whereby the sales team needs to get approval and buy-in from the programming team on a big idea before they can go and close the deal with their client. Most radio stations will have their programming teams approving copy for a live read and designing competitions and promotions for the sales team to then go and get approval from the clients who are purchasing those types of airtime packages. So this means that the sales team cannot sell something that the programming team is uncomfortable with executing, right? If we look at the third entry there, or the third, well, I mean, it's the third line in the table, the third entry, right, is co-presenting to clients. So this is, again, having the programming or parts of the programming team with the sales team pitching to a client, which is a really good idea, because if you are going to be selling on someone's show, the client should be the one that can actually visualize them quite directly, interact with them directly when you are pitching an idea. So if clients are also so if clients are also often listeners of a radio station, then they will have a listening relationship with many of the presenters and personalities that are on air. And this means that meeting those personal or personalities would be of value to them from both a personal and a professional point of view. Many radio stations will arrange presentations to clients. So, for example, what we'll do is we'll create a mock-up of, for example, what it is that you are sponsoring and how it's going to sound with this presenter, and that will give them a better idea of of if they are going to buy in, they're going to buy in a lot quicker because it's right in front of them and they can see how it's obviously going to pan out. So if a client is considering investing in a large scale campaign with the station, then they will often feel a sense of comfort if the presenter who has to deliver that campaign is fully engaged with it and buys into how each and every element will work on their shows. The last little entry there is skin in the game. Many commercial radio stations will offer on-air personalities and producers a share of commission on big integrated deals, if they close it, of course. So this is usually in the case of a proactive selling action, right? Proactive selling process, where the sales executive is trying to get a client to invest in something that is not already part of the radio media plan. The idea here is to present a united front between the on-air team, the programming representatives, and the sales team to get the client to fall in love, because there's a lot of that investment, a lot of interest, and so the client feels that they're special, which they are, because they're paying for our lights and our water at the end of the day. So they fall in love with an idea and purchase it over and above any existing airtime commitments that they've made to the station, or indeed to radio advertising as a whole for that period. Okay. Right. So there are the examples. They are as per the book. Let's look at the last slide and the last example. Some on-air presenters may be reluctant to engage in true station selling. So true. Absolutely. A reason maybe that they feel or what they feel is not really their jobs in bringing in that money. And at at a commercial, I suppose there isn't really any justification for that. Again, if a client wants you and there's a talent management department or whatever it is at a commercial level, you have to be involved and you want to be able to earn that extra money through being a brand ambassador, etc. So the only presenters that would say, I don't want anything to do with it is a wrong attitude. The fact that maybe I can't really do much for the sales process is okay, but you can be part of the added value to get the sale done or closed. The truth is that every person on air is selling the station every single day, and it's important for presenters to understand that delivering on-air advertising elements is not only part of their jobs, it's mandatory and can act as a counterweight to poor audience numbers, right? And again, clients disappearing into thin air. So when clients purchase airtime on a particular show, they are not only buying the audience listening to it, but they're also buying the presenter that has to sound excited, that is excited about their product, that is excited to relay that message and has that 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 buy-in completely. So there are several DJs that are greatly valued by clients who rely on them to deliver their advertising messages in an engaging and a real way. So it's not only the biggest presenters in South Africa, but the greatest presenters, the ones that can do, and those are two different things, right? So that know how to do their job well. And really, so if your boss says to you, listen, I'm going to bring in a sales, not a sales rep, like a digital marketer, or I'm going to bring in a marketing manager, or I'm bringing in the CEO of this particular company that is already paying for advertising and is already advertising on the station, and you've got to do a half an hour interview with them. Best you be well prepared. Best you well know who this person is. What is obviously the end game, the purpose, the outcome, or whatever it is of why you are having that particular interview. In other words, treat it like you do any other content that you are invested in, like treat it well, right, and professionally. Take a look at example 10B. Excuse me. All right, if we turn the page, it's on 390. Example 10B says former 5FM DJ Sasha Martiningo was well known among audiences for being a petrol head. So his love of cars and Formula One motoring extended across all aspects of his career. And Sasha created car features on his radio show, wrote columns for motoring magazines, and hosted Supersports F1 broadcasts for more than 20 years. Sasha was a favorite master of ceremonies at car events and attended those were attended by thousands of South Africans, including the Johannesburg International Motoring Show, the Top Gear alongside international acclaimed TV presenters like Richard Hammond and Jeremy Clarkson. His personal collection of Ferrari memorabilia was featured in both magazines and on TV shows such as Top Billing. Through the deep-seated passion for cars, Sasha attracted a number of new clients to 5FM. It was because of Sasha's credibility as a car enthusiast and F1 commentator that clients such as Alfa Romeo and Car Magazine began advertising on the station. Sasha would regularly attend the same events as car dealership bosses and automotive industry brand managers. He would DJ and MC at annual car shows and year-end functions and so on and so forth. So I really do not want to carry on about Sasha Martiningo's career. Right. At the end of that, Sasha spent more than 19 years on 5FM, one of the longest careers in history at the station. And he started on a graveyard shift, which means late hours of the evening or early hours of the mornings, and rose to celebrate more than 5,000 shows before he left the station in 2012. He has always been described by thousands who worked with him as a consummate professional. Sorry, I'm struggling with this because I don't agree. Just because Sasha is an incredibly horrible person, and that anyone knows as a fact. Okay, but he might as well, like in terms of being a professional, let's just trust the book and what the book says. All right. Anyway, so it says there who wouldn't do anything for the station and to whom it's not unprofessional for me to say exactly why it is that no one wants to work with Sasha anymore. Okay. Anyway, but in terms of this, totally true. Okay, and to whom no job was too small or too much to ask. This reputation was fundamental to his long career at a youth-centric radio station and in his subsequent broadcast career across numerous TV, radio, and internet platforms. Right. You, for homework, need to do or must or should look at, please. You need to do activity 10C, question 5 to, what is it, 7, page 391. And of course, as always, you can find the answers and check your answers with me or with the answers at the end of the book. That is it for this lesson. Cheers. We'll see you in the next.